what I know. Better than the rest, just watch me grow. Put me to the test and watch me go. This is my quest, I'ma make it known. They call me obsessive, oh I know. Call me selective with my notes. Call me aggressive with my flow. Call me offensive even though Joe, I ain't gonna lie, life's tough. Try to get by, life's rough. Try to do it right.
Yeehaw, soldiers! It's your boy, the Anime Sage, coming at you for another video, and this is What If Deku Had Diffusion Quirk Part 2. Well, this actually did pretty well in its debut, actually. A very cool 7k views in a week in the making of this video, so let's see how Part 2 does. This should be fun. And also sorry that I couldn't get this out yesterday. I kind of had to make sure the script was great, so yeah, you know, that should be fun. Anyways, let me get into the schedule for this week. Tomorrow, you guys are going to get What If Naruto's Havachi have sent you Part 8, and on Friday, y'all are going to get What If Hashirama Cut the Biju, and on Saturday, you guys are going to get What If Deku at the Mjolnir Part 8, just so we can balance everything out. Let's have a great week this week. Anyways, watch me community tab like a hawk. You guys get vid updates, polls, and you know, you get this like what ifs I do for the week, and some other fun stuff in between. So watch me community tab like a hawk. Anyways, time for some quick social media plugs. Twitter is at AnimeSage4, Instagram is anime_sage4, and join my Discord server, which will be linked in the description. I'll give you all reasons to follow / join us at the end of the video, so yeah, watch until the end. Alright, now it is time for half the usual checklist. If you haven't seen Part 1, the link to it will be in the description. And with all that out of the way, let's get right into the story. Alright, so we are after Deku has been accepted into UA. He will soon be essentially starting high school, which should be fun. Deku will have back and forth text conversations with Momo, and there's a bit of a bond growing there, so that's nice. Oh god, why am I tempted to do the Aram word, you know? Anyways, we cut to Mirio, who is trained with One for All. It will definitely look very strange for Mirio to suddenly have a new power out of nowhere, so Mirio will have to be very careful about who he shows his quirk to. That, or he can just justify it by saying, well, it's the next step in his quirk training, it's a quirk evolution, or whatever. I'm going to go with a mix of both. Mirio is definitely coming along nicely, and All Might feels like he made a good choice, though he doesn't like how Mirio seems to lack the quick instinct to save someone without thinking about it, which Deku did have in original canon. Those are situations in which people's lives matter, and if you don't have the instinct to save someone, it could lead to a person dying. Mirio is definitely near perfect, but he definitely lacks that instinct. All Might also thinks you could use a partner to help enhance him, get better and stuff like that, but doesn't know who. It would have to be someone he at least knows in his school, and someone he could probably trust. Back to Deku, he cannot wait for his first day at school. He goes to sleep, and wakes up the next day, and will say goodbye to his mom, and heads to school. He'll see Momo, and they'll both have, you know, some conversations about how life is. It's been a while since they last talked in person, and all this other stuff. Oh yeah, and Inko does know about Deku talking to Momo and stuff like that, and she sees what's going on, you know? Although Deku isn't going to flat out admit it, he can sort of disagree that he doesn't, you know, like Momo, you know? Anyways, they walk into class, and they see our boy Ida yelling at Bakugo. Ida goes up to Deku and apologizes to him because, you know, he did end up figuring out the tests and stuff like that, and he ended up scoring the highest, and, you know, he did better than him, so yeah, he's got to apologize. Deku accepts his apology, and they'll go into a similar route with their friendship. He then sees Ochako, and she'll greet Deku, and will thank him again for saving her. Deku will be like, yeah, no problem, and also thank you for saving me, and all this other type of stuff, and Momo's kind of starting to get a bit jealous. Momo will ask who Ochako is, and Deku will explain everything. Momo will be satisfied with that. She then wonders why she was kind of angry about it in the first place, almost like she was threatened by Ochako. I mean, we all know what it is, it's jealousy, but she's not going to admit it, you know? Aizawa will then do his thing, and will eventually call everybody to a quirk apprehension test. Deku and Class 1A will be interested, they then head out, and Class 1A will be very intrigued, and then there will be the revelation of the last place finisher getting expelled. No one wants to be expelled, so here we go. First is the 50-meter dash. Deku will dash by fusing with his metal, and he'll get a time of 3.6 seconds, as again, he gets boost from fusing. However, it isn't as OP versus if you were to fuse with another human. And by the way, yes, he can fuse with animals. They are organic, and he can definitely fuse with an animal, so that's there, I guess. But I'll get into animals in a bit later when the time comes, you know. Anyways, Deku's going to have a lot better time versus the original canon because, I mean, it's obvious, you know. Everybody will have similar times with their runs, though Bakugo will have a better time by around 5 seconds. For the grip strength test, he'll be able to get a decent score with like 250, so that's fine. Next is sandbox jump, and Deku will be able to clear it, barely, but he'll clear it. In terms of the repeated side steps, Midnight will utilize his quirk, and Deku will do pretty well. Deku doesn't really like the vibes from Mineta for obvious reasons. Now, it's time for the ball throw. Ochako will get her Infinity for obvious reasons, and then Deku meanwhile will ask Aizawa if there's a baseball bat lying around. And then Aizawa will give it to him. Deku then fuses with the bat, and his arm becomes, well, that of a baseball bat. Deku will then throw up the ball up in the air, and will be able to hit the ball, and it will go very, very high. Deku will be able to beat Bakugo by a few meters, and Bakugo is definitely mad about that, though he won't respond like he did in the original canon, because Deku actually has a quirk in his canon now. Deku then is able to do well in the last 3 tests, which were sit-ups, long distance run, and a seated toe touch, as his fingers were not destroyed, and Deku is able to get a much better placement. Deku in his canon will get 2nd place, as Momo can create anything, so I guess it's logical that she can get 1st place, so he will be happy for Momo, but is kind of mad at the same time because he definitely won 1st. Can you guess who's getting expelled? Bye-bye, Mineta. I'll go with this because I want to put a certain girl from Class 1B into Class 1A. While Deku and everybody will kind of feel bad for Mineta, they really didn't like the way he was looking at the ladies, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't think anyone really likes the way he approaches women in general, plus he's kind of short and stuff like that, so they don't really care about him. Later on, Momo and Deku will keep talking, and we'll be able to get closer. Their relationship is getting better and better. Deku will also be friends with Ochako and Ida, and Deku is kind of in a weird position because he kind of likes Ochako a bit, but he has more feelings for Momo. It's a very weird situation for him. Deku will go home later that day and will be in a bit more of a tough spot. Deku will later be able to meet the new student of Class 1A in Itsuka Kendo. She is definitely fairly attractive, we can all admit that, and she's also a pretty nice person, you know? Everyone in the class likes her, and Deku will have some talk with her, and they definitely have a bond starting to form because, you know, they do have their own fine styles, you know? As friends, nothing more. Anyways, later on in the week, that we'll have the Battle Trial arc. All Might will come in and will call for everyone to get ready for the, battle trial. Deku will be paired up with the girl Ochako, and everybody else will be still with the same teams like in Original Canon. The only change coming with Kendo with Momo because Mineta is gone. Deku and Ochako will fight Katsuki and Ida, and Momo definitely is a bit more fine with Ochako being on the same team with Deku, but she definitely would have liked to be on the same team as Deku. But wait, why? Deku and Ochako will come up with a plan like they did in original canon. Bakugo won't necessarily be as angry, but he still wants to fight Deku, so he wants to go with a frontal assault. Deku and Ochako enter, and Bakugo goes out to battle Deku like in canon. Deku tells Ochako to run, and then he fuses with his metal, and he'll be ready to fight Bakugo. Deku and Bakugo will begin their clash, and Deku is able to get a very clear advantage on Bakugo. Reason being is Deku knowing martial arts allows him to have a better use of close combat situations, whereas Bakugo isn't necessarily so lucky. Deku is able to knock Bakugo some feet, and Bakugo is not in a good position at the moment, and realizes he might have to resort to something else. Bakugo then decides to unleash the gauntlets, which will shock everybody. Deku will dodge it, but the blast is a very large explosion. However, it isn't as large as in the original canon because Bakugo isn't necessarily as angry at Deku, so yeah, we have to take that into consideration. Though Bakugo will still be warned, as he really shouldn't put an attack like that on a student, but that's fun, Deku will continue to find Bakugo, and Deku goes in with his custom move, Metal Smash, which is essentially a haymaker in his Metal Fusion form. Bakugo takes a hit, and he is knocked out, because, yeah, that's gotta hurt. Deku then goes and runs after Ochako. Meanwhile, Ochako and Ida are battling like in original canon. Deku is rushing and is able to get there, but there isn't a lot of time. Deku is able to hit Ida, and Deku tells Ochako to run to the weapon. Ochako is able to run all the way over, and is able to grab the weapon with a couple seconds remaining. Deku and Ochako have won their battle, and Deku is not as destroyed as he was in original canon. And then he defuses. Bakugo wakes up, and is relatively fine, but he definitely has to get that head checked out, and so he goes to the nurse's office because, yeah, Deku definitely gave him a really nasty hit to the head. Deku and Uraraka are praised for efforts, though they can do a bit better, but mostly Uraraka, not so much with Deku because Deku did a very good job. While Bakugo definitely does have potential, but needs to control his emotions at times, and, but if he's able to somewhat control his emotions, he'll be a very good hero in the future. Ida was the best in the match, along with Deku, so they're definitely both getting somewhere as heroes, All Might has also kind of made a decision on who he wants to train with Mirio, and I think you can guess who it is. We have the other battles, such as Itsuka and Momo taking the wins over Jiro and Kaminari, and there is no Mineta sign at all. Good. Deku is pretty happy for Momo as well as Kendo, but Momo kind of gets more priority. Deku then heads to the hospital to meet Bakugo, or I guess the nurse's office if you excuse me, and see how he's doing. Deku says, "Hey, what's up, Bakugo?" Bakugo just looks at Deku with a scowl. Bakugo then says, I lost to you, Deku. Deku looks at Bakugo and wonders where this is going. Bakugo then says, as someone who is my rival, I lost to you. You have a very powerful fusion quirk, and I have a very powerful explosion quirk. Even with the enhancements from the gauntlets, I still lost. Deku says, it does happen at times. This is one of the fights that I won against you, but I have been trained harder, and I can believe you did as well. Bakugo then says, at the end of the day, I want to be number one hero, and you want to prove that you are more powerful than me and that you will surpass me. Know this, Deku. I will get stronger than ever before, and I want a rematch. So you continue getting stronger because I'm going to train harder than ever before. And if you don't keep with your training, I will surpass you. In fact, even with your training, I will make sure that I surpass you because I will train harder than ever before. Deku then says, we'll see about that. Then Deku says goodbye and leaves the room. Deku will later go for regular classes and will keep talking with girls like Momo and Ochako. So there is a bond growing there, I guess. Deku is definitely forming more of a bond with Momo, but there are definitely some options, so maybe he has to wait a bit, got to keep those options open. Deku will be kind of a ladies' man as he is growing more confident, if I do say so myself, Man, why am I thinking of an Aram here? I don't know. Deku later in the day will be approached by All Might. All Might wants to talk to him privately, and Deku wonders what is up, but is excited with the prospect of talking to All Might. All Might will then tell Deku a couple things. First, he says he is definitely a rising hero, and is pretty strong, especially with his fusion quirk. This definitely makes Deku pretty happy. All Might also says he might have the potential to surpass him one day if he uses his quirk correctly and trains it properly. This makes Deku a lot more happy because, he's getting compliments from All Might. All Might then says, now, Yon Midoriya, I need to tell you something, but you cannot tell anybody this. At all. You understand? Deku hears this and nods. All Might then decides to tell Deku everything about One For All and Mirio. Deku is pretty shocked about all the information he is being told. Deku then asks, so why are you telling me all this? All Might will say, one day Mirio might get into a fight that he may not be ready for, and while he is doing very well, he is imperfect. I want to train your fusion quirk more, as I feel there is potential with it. Have you ever tried to fuse with more than one object or person? Deku then says, I have, but it didn't work. However, it seems I am getting better at it, and I may be able to fuse with more than one object one day, but I think it might take a while. All Might then says, okay. You also seem to be very good at close combat situations with your education in martial arts. Deku grins hearing this, as again he's being complimented by All Might, puts his hand on the back of his head, it's pretty cool for him, All Might then says, I think you would be a good person to train with Mirio. You both can make each other better, you with your martial arts and combat ability, Mirio with his experience and his calculating approach, so do you want to train with Mirio and I, along with Night Eye? Deku then says, yes, I accept, as he would be kind of stupid to not take the deal. All Might and Deku then shake hands, and it'll be starting to train, pretty soon. Anyways, later within the week, Deku will be elected as class president. Bakugo is kind of mad right now, though again not as mad as in original canon. Deku doesn't mind this, but that doesn't mean he isn't surprised. Momo is also with him as vice president, so Deku is pretty happy about that for obvious reasons. Deku will later sit with his group, and they congratulate him and Momo on their wins as representatives. Deku being president, Momo being vice president, Deku is pretty happy and thinks he can do a very good job. Then the alarm bell rings, and Deku actually does take some leadership here. He says that everyone should be in a single file, and then they should be able to remain calm and all sort of type of stuff, like any representative should. Deku is given congratulations by my girl Momo, along with the rest of the class, and Deku's kind of embarrassed, but he has just proven that he is a worthy candidate to be a class representative. Deku will just spend the rest of the day talking to his friends, doing some of his regular classes, and other stuff in between. Deku definitely is having a very good life right now. Quick thing, he has also been training with All Might and Mirio throughout the week, and they are both getting stronger, Mirio and Deku, I mean. Nane at first was hesitant, but he allowed Midoriya to grow on him, as he is definitely making Mirio better, and he also sees a lot of potential in Deku as well. Deku is definitely going to be very strong, as in above a lot of the freshmen, especially with all the training he is receiving. Deku will later say goodbye to his friends, and later has some thoughts about asking out Momo. He just doesn't really have a thorough plan of how to do it. Deku thinks he could do it after school tomorrow, and then heads home and goes to sleep. The next day, we see Deku walking to school, and Aizawa announces they are heading to USJ, which kind of excites Deku a lot because he's going to train with a pro hero besides All Might. Deku and Class 1A will be able to head to class, and Deku will talk to Momo for a bit. Deku's classes will reach USJ, and they'll meet for a team. He wonders where All Might is, but when he sees a signal from Aizawa, he realizes All Might is at his limit today. Deku will talk to Ochako and Momo, and he is in his nice purple costume, again recolor of his original costume. And since he wasn't in that position in the first place to have his costume destroyed, here we are. And there's no Medea signing at all, so that's also another positive. Deku and company enter USJ and are ready for the train ahead. However, all of a sudden, a portal opens, and out pops a group of villains that kind of look like they mean business. Deku and company are then kind of transferred to different locations, and they're in a bad position. Instead of Medea and Tsuyu in the original canon, he gets Kendo and Tsuyu, which honestly is an upgrade in my opinion. Deku and company are able to get away from the villain grunts and deal with them, and they decide to head back to the area, as they might need to help out a little bit, you know? Meanwhile, Aizawa will have a similar fight to Canon, and will have his shoulder decayed by Shigaraki, and he ain't gonna have a fun time with that Nomu. Deku and company will reach the area, and Deku will say he'll handle the Nomu, and he tells Kendo and Tsuyu to help other people out. And while Kendo and Tsuyu are a bit hesitant, they do have a bit of faith in Deku, and Deku just says to trust him, and they hope that he'll be safe. Deku wants to crack at this Nomu and needs to buy some time for help to arrive. So he gets into his metal form and gets ready to fight. Shigaraki looks down at Deku and says, "You can't beat this Nomu. You have no idea what you're dealing with." Deku looks at Shigaraki and says, "Well, I guess I'm about to find out." And then he gets ready to face the Nomu. How will Deku do in his canon, and how strong has he gone with all the training with Miria and All Might for the week? And of course Night as well, I guess. Find out in part 3. Thank you all for watching part 2 of What If Deku Had a Fusion Quirk. The series is fun to write as it creates very interesting situations, and it's very nice writing ways for Deku to fuse with other stuff, and there's a lot of potential here with him in this story. Now, at this point, I might put up a poll after this video is released on this question I think you are all thinking about, which would be to make an Aram for our boy. So vote for that when it comes out, and whichever decision we come to, I'll go with what you guys want to rock with. So yeah, that should be fun. Make sure to be ready for the vids this week. They'll be fire. Watch the community tab like a hawk. That is very important. And finally, follow me on Twitter for another way to get notified from my videos. Instagram for me or stuff like that. And join my Discord for notifications when I live stream ahead of time. Access to supplementary content. And of course, you guys get to suggest me ideas directly. We are nearly halfway to 8K. Let's get there. And that is all I have to say. Again, this was a bit of a shorter video than last part. But, you know, I feel like this was a good starting point. So yeah, let's get ready for part 3. It's going to be fire. Anyways, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and share the video. And that's all I have to say. This has been your boy, the Anime Sage. Sign out. Peace. YEEHAW. Stephanie Shea closes out. Bye-bye. Peace.
Hi, this is Stephanie Shea, voice actress for Sailor Moon, Hinata, Orihime, and you are watching Anime Sage.